but we aren't live yet. We're getting stuff prepared. You should see a counter on the screen. We got 5 minutes. We'll be live with the live show. So we just got this little countdown for you to watch while we are getting things ready for you guys. Should be on the screen now. But you know what? Instead of just sitting here watching me while the countdown go, I'm going to show you some stuff. Give you some stuff to look at while you wait, and then the show will be starting soon. So check this out.
Money coming, money go. I've been at it on the low. Trapping out of where I live. I keep seeing the leaders doing, let's be talking plans and maybe seeing you. Pull up on you, let me scoop. Nobody here but me and you. Got a little ring to it, turn that thing fluid in the coupe. Way you look, I know it's real. I'm on my shine. I've been really getting feel. You know why I'm here, don't act like you don't know how I feel. But let me tell you what you mean to me. Slide on me for that meet and greet. Vibe with me under moonshine, sipping moonshine to the new sky. Say's toasted and be raised soaked in the raincoat. Hit the waves quota, I be flossing. I be locked in, what's lost here? All that turned me to a target. They be plotting on me, I be cautious. Back then I was an adolescent, then I had a lesson. I'm the man now, I got fans now, I'm on cam now. I got plans now, I'm finna branch out. Grew up quick, but never let go of this here. I put all of that in my rip. Blue tin papers, blowing vapors, wooden traders. Long hair killer in my villa, bitch, I made it. Used to play to play, now I think we major now. She wanna lay me down, I'ma need you to hold me all the way down. Hold it down for me, you say you down for me. You say you hold it all the way down. Hold it down for me, hold it down for me. You say you hold it all the way down. You say you down for me, hold it down for me. Say you hold it all the way down. Hold it down for me, say you down for me. Okay. I really grind like it's 10 of me. Sauce drip, I got the recipe. And you can find me where that pressure be. Evasion, I've been levitated in the preparation. I've been meditated, I've been hella patient. I'm so tired of waiting. I got right here with my day. From where that crevice be. I've been solid since the less of me. Out here with the sea, really in the field. I'm really on cam now. I got plans now. I'm finna brand. Taking care of me. You're always by my side. If you leave, you always make it back. So pretty, I can count on you. But you always taking care of me. You know that I love you, love you, love you. Love you, love you, love you. You know that I want you, want you, want you. You know I want you, want you, want you. Love you, love you, love you. Love you, love you. You know that I want you, want you, want you. I want you, want you, want you. Pretty paper, yeah. I'm infatuated, I'm obsessed. You a flex, I'ma make you mine. You serving power and you sexy, give you all my time. You the only thing I see, I give you all of me. Just to get you, I've been wanting you for so long. And to be honest, you the only one that make me smile. Like, oh my wow, you so bad and you make me laugh. You so supportive, I remember how it was before you. No, I can't lie, I was barely getting by. Honestly, don't think I had emotion. Nah, I ain't have emotion. Didn't recognize myself, like who is that? On his own, I think he tried. So far from home, I'm in 2D, I'm out of reach. I'm on my own, but I always think about you. You so pretty, baby. You gon' be the death of me. So evil and you know you are, but you always taking care of me. You're always by my side. If you leave, you always make it back. So pretty, I can count on you.
Welcome to DL Jones Images. I'm your host, DL Jones. So today, what I'm going to do today is something that I talked about several months ago. I had a little incident, and it was it was an incident where I ended up losing a lot of my photos and videos and stuff that I ended up that I had saved and backed up because I had a hard drive failure. I talked a little bit about it in a video that I did a couple of months ago, but what happened is my hard drive crashed and it died on me. And everything, and I lost everything that was on that hard drive. It wasn't everything that I had total, but I had lost everything that was on that hard drive, and uh, and the backup that I had set up, which I'm going to show you the backup that I was using, the backup system that I'm using in this live stream, which is the whole purpose of this live stream, is to show you a way to back up your stuff that once you set it up is pretty. You don't have to do anything. You just have to check on it every once in a while just to make sure it's still doing what you're expecting it to do. But once you set it up, it's a pretty easy thing to continue backing up all your photos, all your raw files, all your videos and stuff like that. But what happened with me in my situation where I had a hard drive crash, and the reason why I lost a lot of my stuff is because I had an issue with one of my pieces of hardware here. I have a network attached storage device that I use that's part of my backup system, my network attached storage device. And that I had problems with that, so I had something with that. And while I was troubleshooting that, um, I ended up turning all of my backup off, and then I never did fix that problem that day. And it kind of just slipped my mind. And I went a little while without any backups going. And then I had the hard drive crash. Now, when my hard drive crashed, it wouldn't have been a big deal if I had my backup going, but I had been troubleshooting my problem with my NAS, so I had everything turned off, and it completely slipped my mind. It was my fault. It was a bonehead mistake that I made. Um, and I ended up losing a lot of stuff. So luckily, I was able to get all of the photos back, but my videos I didn't get back. And I'm still working on getting that back. I'm probably going to. What happened is the drive had a mechanical problem, so I'm probably going to send it off to one of those companies that can recover files from a drive when it has a mechanical problem. It wasn't a software issue; it was a mechanical, like a hardware issue with the drive itself that caused it to go bad. Um, but like I said, what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to show you how I have mine set up. I actually have it all set up now. This computer that I'm doing this live stream on is not the computer that I use for all of this, but I'm going to go through everything on this computer so I can show you how, if you want to set this up for yourself, if you need a backup system, a foolproof way to back up your stuff, if you don't make the bonehead mistake that I made. And once you set it up, you don't have to worry about it anymore. I'm going to go through that today. And the good thing about this system is that it doesn't cost a whole lot. Just depends on what kind of hardware you already have, which you don't necessarily need to do it exactly like how I do it, because I do have some hardware that some people may not have. But yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing today. So before we get into this, let me tell you how I normally do when I do a photo shoot. Okay, so I'll tell you my setup. A lot of people may have a similar setup. But what I do is when I have a photo shoot, what I do is once I get home, once the shoot is done and I get home, I take the SD card out of my camera and I plug it into my laptop. My laptop is where I usually do most of my work. My laptop is actually a nicer computer than this desktop that I'm streaming on. I need to replace this desktop. So I use my laptop for a lot of stuff. I do my editing on my laptop, and I use that to start my storage backup and all of that kind of stuff. So what I do is I take my SD card out of my camera and I plug it into my laptop, and then I copy the whole contents of the SD card to my USB drive. Now, my USB drive is plugged into my laptop. It stays plugged into my laptop unless I'm taking it somewhere to work on some of those files somewhere else. It stays plugged into my laptop. I even got like a little Velcro strap on the back of the laptop so it just stays there out of the way. but it stays on my laptop. And it depends. I've had several of them over the years. I usually do like a 2 terabyte drive. You can get larger ones, you can get smaller ones. 2 terabyte drive usually lasts me a little while before I have to go figure out what I'm gonna do with all of the stuff. So that's what I have. I have a 2 terabyte USB hard drive. I think the one that I have now is a Western Digital one. I think all of the ones I've ever had were Western Digital. Um, so what I do is on my hard drive, it's only used for my photos. So on my hard drive, what I have is a folder for photos and a folder for videos. So when you open up my folder for photos, which I'm going to go into all of this, I'm going to show you all of this on the screen in a few minutes. But when I go to the folder for photos, once you open up the folder for photos, then you'll see all of these other photos folders. Each folder is for each shoot that I've done. So if I do a shoot with a model, it'll be the model's name and the date, and that'll be the photo for the folder for that shoot. Or if it's a client shoot, it'll be either the client's name or the type of shoot it was and the date, and all of the photos for that shoot will be in there. And what I do is I'll plug my SD card into my laptop, and I will copy the whole contents of that SD card onto the folder on my USB drive for that particular shoot. That way is there. It's off the SD card and it's on that drive. Now, I don't delete the SD card. I don't delete it right away. I'm kind of paranoid about this, so I don't delete it right away, even after the files have been copied over and everything. I don't delete it right away. I'm a little bit paranoid about it because I'm always thinking, like, what if I delete it right away and then something happens to the drive and I don't have a backup, of those files yet. And and once we get into this, you'll see why I'm worried about it right then. So once I copy it to that drive, then once it's on that USB drive, then my backup stuff will take place. It will start doing and it'll back it up. Now, as far as backup, one reason why I'm talking about this is I haven't talked about this a whole lot on my channel because it doesn't really matter, but I've been working in professional IT for like over the last 20 years. I've done all kinds of stuff. I've owned businesses, computer repair businesses. I've built computers. I've been IT director. I've been IT manager. I've been system technician. I've done all kinds of stuff in the IT field for myself and in a professional capacity, on a professional level for over 20 years. I have a ton of IT related certifications. Have a IT degree. So I do have a good amount of experience dealing with IT stuff, and it's some of that experience comes into play with photography because, of course, when you're doing photography stuff, yeah, you're using the camera when you're taking the photos, but once you get the stuff home, a lot of that stuff now you're dealing with computers, now you're dealing with storage, now you're dealing with transferring files, this and that kind of stuff is a little bit easy to me because I've been doing it so long. I've worked in a professional capacity in IT in one form or another for years. So a lot of when it comes to those aspects of photography and everything, like when it comes to managing YouTube stuff, and I've done websites, I've done all kinds of stuff related that has some type of tech relation. And it all just generally comes from my background in tech, my background in IT. So that's why I figured it might be a good chance for me to come up here and like some of you photographers, a lot of people may not know a whole lot about different stuff when it comes to computers, and you never know until you have a problem, how much stuff you don't know. So I figured I'd help you out on this one. If you need some help, or if you do know about things and you're looking for an easy way, this may be something that'll help you out here. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to tell you how my system is set up here for this test here. This all of this stuff is just created just to do this live stream, so I can go through the motions and show you guys what I got set up, and it's kind of is mirrored the same way I have it set up on my laptop, except for there it's my real folders and my real files and stuff like that. Here is stuff that I just put together, so I have an example to show you guys when while I'm going through all of this stuff. All right, so now I am going to pull up my folders, and I'm gonna show you what I got going on. And this is mirrored on my laptop on what I use normally. Okay. So if you look here, this is my screen, one of the screens on my desktop here. And you see I got 3 folders up on the screen. All the way to the right on this side. Well, I guess I'll put mouse here. On this side, this is the thing that a lot of you may not have this. Now, what I have is, like I said at the beginning of the stream, that I was using a network attached storage device. And that's what this folder is here. This is from my network attached storage device. What I'm using is a QNAP. I forgot the model number, but it's a QNAP storage device. And basically what a network attached storage device is exactly what it says. It says separate thing that sits on your network, and all it is just hard drives in it, and that's where you store stuff. It's not tied to a computer or a laptop or anything like that. It's its own unit. Now you can access it from your computer, from your laptop, sort of like how on this screen here, if you look at this folder, I'm looking at it from my folder, which I guess I'll tell you guys what I'm telling you today. I'm doing it all on a Windows-based PC, but I think I haven't tried it, so I'm not completely sure, but all of the software that I'm talking about also works on Macs. I do have a Mac, but I haven't gone through this process on my Mac, so I'm not sure how different it'll be if you use a Mac and you try to use the same method as far as backing your stuff up. But as I was saying is, like, my network attached storage, which is a QNAP, which I'm gonna have links in the description as far as, if you want to check out if you don't have a network attached storage. QNAP isn't the only brand that makes one. That's just the one that I have now. I've used Synology. Actually, only QNAP and Synology are the only 2 that I've used in a home-based situation. So once you have your network attached storage set up, you can access it from any computer as long as you set up the permissions where you can log into it. And that's what I have here. I have this folder here, which is, I have allocated. Actually, I told you guys the wrong thing. This is my Google Drive. The middle one is my network attached storage, where you see photo backup down here at the bottom. And I'm going to open it up here. Okay, so now we're looking at my network attached storage. It's the middle screen. Sorry, you guys, I had that mixed up. They're all the same folders though, because I kind of put them all together because it just makes it easier to go through the process. So when you look on my folder, like if you went back, you can see all of my drives. These are all the drives that's on this computer. And then I have my 2 network attached storage drives down here where it says storage locations. I just mapped folders from that drive to this computer so I can get to them real quick without having to go through the whole, searching for it. And like I got 2 folders. It's the same network attached storage. You see one is media and one is photo backup. They're both the same device that it connects to. I just got different folders mapped as drives. So if we go into my photo backup, you'll see, like I was saying earlier, I usually have one folder for photos and one folder for videos. So if you look at all 3 of these folders that I have open here on the screen, they're all formatted the same way: photos and video. Now, if you look at the left screen, now this is supposed to represent my USB hard drive. It is actually a smaller, I think it's a 32 gigabyte thumb drive, but it's the same thing. Basically, on my laptop, it's a 2 terabyte drive. Here is just a smaller 32 gigabyte thumb drive. But you see, I have that formatted the same way. I got a video about folder for photos and a folder for videos. If you open up the photos folder, I have a couple of photos in it, and I just put all of these there just for this test. Go to the video folder, I have a couple of videos in it, and this is be the same way that I have it set up on my laptop, with the exception of when you open up the photos, instead of just seeing photos right away, I'll have more folders for each shoot. Each folder would represent a shoot. But here I just threw a couple of photos in there just to test this. Okay, so on your right, which at first I was saying was my NAS, on my right is my Google Drive folder. And I'm going to explain why I have a Google Drive folder
and I'm gonna explain how to set that up and everything in a few minutes. But as you can see, my main three things here is I have my network attached storage, and it's my QNAP network attached storage. I have my USB um, drive, and then I have my Google Drive. Now, you don't necessarily need to have a USB drive. I only have it because I rather keep my stuff on a portable drive instead of keeping it on the laptop itself, because laptops usually don't have as much space on them. Just depends on what kind of laptop you got. They don't have as much space on them, and if I stored all of my stuff on my laptop directly, it would just fill up my hard drive, and I don't want to do that. So that's why I use a USB drive for that. For my photos, for my videos, I keep it separate on its own drive, and it's not taking up space on my laptop. So that's why I have it set up that way. Um, so now I know what you're thinking. My Google Drive, is that taking up space? No, and I'm going to explain to you why it doesn't take up space. If you're familiar with Google Drive, you already know, but I'm going to explain to you why. As a matter of fact, we're going to go to that now. I'm going to pull up um, Google Drive here, and I'm going to show you guys what I got going on here. All right, so I'm at the Google Drive website. It's pretty simple. You can get Google Drive for free. I think you can get it for free. Let's see. Yeah, you can get it. You can get it for free, but all you get is 15 gigabytes of space. Um, that's okay if you don't really use it. That's okay just to have if you don't really use it. But for our purposes, you're gonna have to pay for something. Like I said, I want to do it for free, but you can't really do it for free. My method here, you can't really do it for free. Um, you're going to have to pay for something, and I'm going to tell you why I use Google Drive in the first place. So as far as setting up a good backup system, the rule of thumb that I've always followed is to have a backup system that you can feel comfortable and safe with. What you need to do is you need to have your stuff backed up to let me fix this right quick. I didn't realize that was messed up. But you need to have your stuff backed up to at least 3 locations. 2 locations can be on site, but then 1 location has to be off site. So what my 3 locations is: number 1, my USB hard drive. That's the first location. Number 2, my network attached storage. That's the second location. Now they're both on site. You got 2 backups. If your hard drive die, you can pull it off your network attached storage. If your network attached storage die, you still have it on your hard drive. They're in different rooms. So if something happens in one room, you still got something in another room. But what if your house burned down? You know what I'm saying? What if somebody breaks in and steal everything that you have? Then you're out of it. Both of your storage devices that you have, both of your backups are gone. And when you have 2 backups in the same location, even if they're in different rooms or different floors or whatever, it still is pretty possible that if you lose two specific things, you may lose both. If you have a hard drive crash, that's one thing. But if you have something more serious, like I said, the example I gave, like a fire, if you have a fire or something like that, that's going to take out everything in the house. So you may lose both. And in the case that you lose both, that's when you need the third copy, which is your off-site backup. Now, I've worked for companies where off-site backup is they copy data to a drive and then take the drive to another location, like maybe a different location. Maybe the company may have more than one location, one in one city and another one in another city. So they'll make a copy of all of their backups, like, on a schedule, maybe once a day or once a week. And they'll actually physically take that copy to another location. And that works. It's just a pain because now if something happens, you got to go to the other location and get it. What I do is I use Google Drive for my third offsite backup. Cloud backup is not on site, you know, and there's more benefits to using Google Drive, or any type of cloud backup. You can use Dropbox or anything like that. I just prefer Google Drive to all of them. I don't mess with Apple Drive or anything like that. I just prefer Google Drive to all of them. You got OneDrive, you got Dropbox. There's a bunch of them. There's a lot of them out there. And most of them, you're going to have to pay something if you want if you want enough stuff if you want enough space to have a good backup, you're going to pay something, you know. So getting back to Google Drive, what I have is the Google One membership. And it's really overkill for me. And I'll tell you why in a second. So with the Google Drive membership, you know, you got all of these options, $199 a month, $299 a month. Those two sizes are still not large enough, you know, that I feel comfortable with. What I have is a 2 terabyte plan, which is $9.99 a month. There are plans that's larger than this. I don't know why it's not showing up here, but there are plans that's larger than this. I think the next step up is a 5 terabyte plan. And I think that's about $24 a month, something like that. I have the 2 terabyte plan, $9.99 a month. It's kind of overkill for me right now because I also have Google Fiber as my internet service. And I think just by being a Google Fiber member, I get like, I don't know how many terabytes. I get like about 3 terabytes already. That comes with that. So I have a lot of space, you know. And it's pretty good. If you have access to Google Fiber, I think I love the service. I've had them for like about 4 years. But yeah, it comes with its own space. But I also have this space here. I also have the premium 2 terabyte space here. And that's what I use so far. So that's my 3 modes of backup. I have 2 local backups, which is a USB hard drive, and the network attached storage, which is my QNAP device. And then my offsite backup, I'm using Google Drive for that. So you can, like I was saying earlier, you can get by without having a USB drive. Or if you got 2 computers, like if I wanted to, I could use my desktop, which usually is in one room, and then my laptop, which is usually in another room. I can use those 2 as my 2 on-site backups. I can use the same mode process as long as you know how to access the drives from each computer. I could use this same process to do that that I'm going to show you now to set that up. But this way right here is pretty easy to set up. And I say that because not everybody catches stuff as quick as I do. I got to remind myself that sometimes. But it's not a whole lot of different steps to it. Actually, it might be. We'll see. We'll get to it in a minute. All right. So the piece of software that I use to tie all of this together, and there's other software that you can use that does this same thing. I think before I was using something different, but I went to this. I think what I was using before was some software that I paid for. But this software here is a free software, and it works on both Windows and Mac. It's called Free File Sync. You can go get it from. They have a donation version where you can donate some money, and I think it unlocks some more features. I don't even know what features that it unlocks. I've never used it, and I never ran into a situation where I needed, for what I use it for, I didn't need any more, I can't think of any other features that it offered that I was, just in my normal use that I felt like I'm missing this feature, So it's called freefilesync.com. If you go to the download page, you see that they have Windows, Mac, Linux. So it works on both Windows and Mac. I haven't used it on my Mac. I very rarely use my Mac. I definitely don't use it for this type of stuff, But like I said, I'm on a Windows PC. I'm on Windows 11, and I use it on this PC, and I've been using it for a while. And like I said earlier, you know, I lost my stuff, and it's because I turned all of this stuff off. I turned off all of my stuff that I was setting up because I was troubleshooting something else, and then I just kind of let it get away from me and never went back to it, you know. But yeah, that's what I'm using here, Free File Sync, and I'm going to show you what I do. Okay, so what Free File Sync does, let me go back to the screen here, and I'm going to pull it up. Okay, so what Free File Sync does is you can set up where it will copy files from one folder to another folder. And that's the main thing about how this backup system works. I need to copy files from my USB drive to my NAS to my Google Drive. And I want it to be done automatically. I don't want to have to do it myself. You know, you can easily just come in, copy all of your photos and stuff from your SD card to your USB drive and then to your NAS and then to your OneDrive. You can do that. It's a bunch of different ways you can do that manually, but this right here will set it all up where you don't have to worry about it. It will do it on its own. All you have to do is every once in a while check it to make sure it's working. You know, I wouldn't say just forget about it and never look at it. I would say check it every once in a while to make sure it's working. So I'm going to pull up Free File Sync here. Which I just installed it before the stream, but none of this stuff is set up. It's set up on my laptop, but not here. So when I'm going through this, I'm going to be going through this with you guys for the first time. This computer. And while we're waiting for this to come up, make sure you guys hit like. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I don't do a whole lot of these tech type videos, but I might start doing some more of them because I do enjoy talking about this kind of stuff. But there's plenty of other photography based videos on my site. I mean, on my channel, you know, behind the scenes video of different photo shoots I've done. I just started the Model Mondays live stream, which the next one is going to be August 28th, because I still had some left over that I didn't finish the last time we did it. And then after that, I think I'm just going to start doing the Model Mondays every other Monday. Try to have different guests, different models on as guests, you know, to commentate on the different photos. I really enjoyed that stream. But here we have on the screen here is Free File Sync. Okay, let me make this a little bit larger. Actually, let me just make it wide. Okay, so we got Free File Sync on the screen. You know, I've done the install just before I started the stream, and just so I wouldn't have to install it while I was waiting here for you guys. But yeah, and it's pretty, when you look at it, it's kind of hard to know what you're looking at, but I'm going to go through it and I'm going to let you know what we're going to do. Now, the goal is when I copy a file to the USB hard drive, what I want it to do is I want it to automatically copy to my Google Drive folder, and I want it to automatically copy to my NAS. You know, I don't want to have to do it myself. I just want it to automatically do it. And that's what Free File Sync will do for you. Okay, so what I have here is, if you look at the screen, you got on the left side, this is the side where you want to copy items from. And on the right side is the side where you want to copy items to. Now, the first thing I want to do is it got synchronized over here at the top, and I don't want it to synchronize. I just want a one-way copy. So I'm going to change that to mirror. Now the options you have, let's see if it comes up here. Okay, so the options you have is you got two-way, which we don't want that. You got mirror, which means that it's going to take everything that's on the left side, which is your source, which will be your USB hard drive, and mirror it on the right side, which would be whatever destinations you set up on the right side. Then you have update, which I think works similar to Mirror. I've never used the update option. I think works similar to Mirror, but I think what it tries to do is only take the things that changed from the last update and mirror it to the right side. That might be a better option. I just use Mirror because I'm not sure how updates will work. You know, I'm not sure like if I copy something over there, if it's going to miss something, you know. So I haven't really used that. Then there's custom, which I've never messed with custom. So what we want is Mirror. And with Mirror, like I said, whatever file you have on the left side, which the left side will be whatever you set as your source. And for me, it would be the USB drive, because that's where I copy all of my files. When I plug my SD card into the computer and copy all the files to the computer, I copy it to the USB drive. So the source will be the USB drive. The target destination, which will be on your right side, will be my two other options, my Google Drive folder and my network attached storage folder. So what we got to do here, so I got this set to Mirror. And now we just set it up. So I will, whoops. All right, so right here at the top, I'm going to set my first pairing. So go down to my USB drive, which I named this USB drive test drive, you know. And instead of, you can do the whole drive, but I usually don't do it that way. I'll have several different entries in this list, and you can have several different ones. You're going to need to have several different ones when you go to different drives. So I'll go to my test drive and I'll select my photos. And that way this particular entry will copy all of the photos, everything that's in that photos folder. So I select that folder, and then I go over to the right side, and from here, I'll go to my Google Drive folder. Let's see, where is my Google Drive folder? And I'll find my folder that I created on Google Drive. Now this Google Drive folder, and see, I named it the same thing. I put test drive. I just put a bunch of ones up there so it'll show up on the top of the list. I wouldn't have to go looking for it. So I click on test drive. And when you look at my Google Drive folder, I have a photos and video. I named the folders together the same on all three devices so that I won't be confused about where things are supposed to go. So I select my Google Drive folder and I click select folder. So now we have a pairing. If you look, let me make this bigger right quick. Okay, so if you look on the left side, I have photos from my USB drive, which is the E drive. And I have on the right side my G drive, which makes it really obvious. I think Google always named the drive G when you install the software. And I got it to the folders on the folders photo on my E drive. So that's one pairing. So now what I got to do is I got to go through and make a few more of these. So let's go to set up another one. And this will be my test drive, USB drive. And this time I'll select video, select folder. Then I'll come over here to the right and I'll go to my Google Drive folder, which I'm going to do something to make this a little easier as soon as I find this folder again. I'm going to copy this Google Drive folder over here so it's in my quick, if it'll do it. I think I copied it inside another folder. That was an easy way to do it. Okay, so There you go. Now it's some. I just right clicked it and did pin to quick access. I'll show you again what I did. Pin to quick access, and it just puts it here. That way I don't have to go through the thing every time I'm looking for it, because I'm gonna need to go here a couple of times. All right, so I go on my test drive folder and I select video. And here we go. Now I got 2 pairs. So I need to do this. What I need to do here, which I'll do the other one first. All right, so now what we need to do is I need to duplicate both of these, but I need them to go to the NAS, the network attached storage. So basically the same thing. I create another pairing. Go to my test drive and I do photos. And then go over to the right side of the screen. And this time I'm going to my network attached storage, my photo backup, and I select photos. Select folder. And one last pairing. Test drive, video, select folder. And then my source will go to my network attached storage. Select folder. So there we have, there we got all my pairings. So right now, the way I have it set up, I got 4 different listings here. 2 listings for photos, for the photos folder, 2 listings for the video folder. And on the destination side, those 2, they go to 2 different things. I got the photo and videos go to the Google Drive folder, and the photo and videos go to my network attached storage. So that's what we have, you know. So what we can do now, let me look at these settings right quick. Okay, so what we can do now is we could run this. You know, I'm gonna save it. Go to my documents. I'm just gonna save it right here for right now. I'm gonna do test sync settings. This part right here is not a big deal, so it doesn't really matter. So I saved it, and now we have our pairing setup. You know, now we have our pairing setup. If we press this button here, it's going to copy all the files from, let's see, Google Photos. See, there's only files on the drive, and we'll run it right quick so you can see what it does. Now, if you look at my network attached storage, that's empty. If you look at my Google Drive, that's empty. And remember, the right is Google Drive, the middle is the network attached storage, and the left is my USB drive. So I'm going to run this so it'll copy the files over. I'm going to go ahead and press synchronize, and it should go through the process. You know, there it goes. So what it's going to do is it's just going to go through each one of the pairings that I make and mirror the files that's in from the source drive, which is the USB drive, and copy them over to the destination drive. Yeah, see, as you can see, they're already moving files over. And as you could tell, you know, these are just a couple of files. If you had like tons of files, you know, like let's say you had a hard drive, let's say you had a USB drive that, okay, it's done now. Let's say you had a USB drive and you had like a terabyte of data, it'll take a while. You could sit there and wait for a year. So it's finished, complete, it's completed it. You get the pretty little graph saying it's completed successfully. So this works. Our pairings work. When I run it manually, it copies the folders from the USB drive to my network attached storage and to my Google Drive. All right. So now, how do you make this automated so you don't have to do it manually every time? There is a feature on Free File Sync that you can use to do this. And it takes a little bit of tech, but don't worry about it. I'm gonna show you how to do it. But it takes a little bit of tech, probably something that you may not have ever even looked at before, but it's built into Windows. Um, but this is how what you need to do. So what we need to do is if you click on File, there's an option here that says Save as Batch Job. And that's what we need to do. We need to save this job, which this whole sync transfer thing here is considered a job. So we need to save this as a batch job. So this is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to click this and make sure you bookmark this video or save it or whatever, because I'm pretty sure you're probably not sitting at home right now going through this if you want to set your computer up the same way. So make sure you bookmark this so that if you do decide to use this method, you can follow along while you're setting yours up. Make sure you hit like also. But here we go here. Let's see here. So what we do here, I've clicked on Save as Batch Job. This message come up. And what I normally do, I click Run Minimized, because when it does run, I'm going to set it to run at a time where I'm not at the computer anyway. But when it does run, I don't want it to show up on the screen. I just want it to run in the background. So I'll click Run Minimize, and then I'll click Ignore Errors. You don't have to click Ignore Errors. I just usually click Ignore Errors, which probably might not be a good idea. Because if you get an error, you're not going to, you'll still be able to open the app and look at it and find out if there's some things that didn't work right, but you won't get a notification or anything on the screen that lets you know that there has been something that didn't work. And then and then it's got the thing here that says when finished. I usually leave this blank because the computer that I have this set up on, it's usually going to be running, mostly, unless I'm moving it from one place to another or I'm traveling and I have it with me or something. If it's at home and it's plugged in, it's going to be on and running. It'll probably just be in sleep mode or something like that, or in standby or whatever, but it'll be running, so I don't select one of these because I don't want to put it to sleep. I don't want it to shut down. So I just leave it blank. I just leave that blank. Then you click Save As. And I'm going to save it in my documents and I'm going to name it something. And that's the thing you got to make sure you do is make sure you name it something that you're going to remember. So I'm just going to name it, Test Backup Automation. Test Backup Auto. So I'm going to save it. And we have it. Now, if you look at my documents folder, now I have the Test Backup Automation here. And that's the file you're going to need, because what that file does is when you run that file, it automatically starts Free File Sync and it runs the pairing, the backup, the synchronize that we just set up. So what we need to do is we need to find a way to have this run automatically so you don't have to do it yourself. And what we're going to use to do that is a built-in tool in Windows called Task Scheduler. So if you're in Windows, and I think Mac has a similar thing. I remember fooling around with something on the Mac. I don't know what it's called. Mac's always got like these weird names for things. But I think they have something similar on Macs also. So if you're setting this up on a Mac, you just have to figure out what the equivalent of this is on a Mac. But what I'm going to do is which is off screen, but I am going to search for Task Scheduler. And it should come up. As soon as I pull it up, I'm going to get it on the screen so you guys can see it. This computer is kind of slow. I need to replace this computer. I think I've had it 6 or 7 years, and I bought it new, of course, but it wasn't a top of the line computer when I bought it. So it does need to be replaced. All right, so here we go. I got Task Scheduler set up. And like I said, a lot of people may not have ever used this, may not have ever looked at it, may not even known that anything like this is built into Windows. But what Task Scheduler does is it lets you go in and set up different things that'll run based on different criteria that you set it as. Um, and it just depends. You can set it to run a certain program at a certain time or do this before it logs. It's a lot of stuff you can do with it. But what we're going to use this for is we're going to have this run. We're going to have this task scheduler run this backup file, this batch file that we just created that we saved from Free File Sync at a specific time. All right, so I'm going to click Create Basic Task and go through the wizard here. As soon as it comes up on the screen, here we go. And I'm going to name this Auto Backup. And you can put a description. If you use this a lot, you may need to put descriptions so that if you have to go back and look through all of this stuff, you might know what it is. I don't use it a whole lot. I mean, on my laptop, I used it to set this up, and that's about it. I haven't used it for anything else. So I just name it Auto Backup, and I click Next. And this is how you tell it when to run your backup. So I set mine for daily. Let's see. I set it for a time. Let's see if I can't remember if it asks you for a time when you click Next or what. Let's see. Okay, there we go. All right, so I set mine for daily. If you check, you can do it weekly, you can do it monthly, you can set it to do one time. I don't know why you even do a schedule if you're going to do it only one time. You can do it when the computer starts. That's a good idea. But a lot of times if you're the type of person to turn your computer off at night, then turn it back on when you use it, you don't necessarily want your computer to start. And the first thing it does is run this in the background, especially if you have a lot of files. It'll have your computer slowed until it finishes. You don't necessarily do that. When I log on, same deal, So I'm gonna set daily and I click Next. And what I do is I just put every 1 days. And then I just change the time to a time that I know I'm not going to use the computer. Now, the time that I have set on my laptop is 4 a.m. So I'll just change that to. And I'll make this bigger so you can see it. So I have it set to 4, and I'll change that to a.m. All right, so now the way this is set up, it will run this schedule every day at 4 a.m. So I click Next, and then for your action, you have 3 options for actions. What I'm going to select is Start a Program. Click Next. And then here is where I am going to browse to the batch file that I have saved. So let's go to my Documents folder. And then there's my batch file, and I click Open. So now my batch file is set up. So the way this schedule works now, every day at 4 a.m., it will run this batch file. That batch file will back up all of your items that you have set up, that you set up before and saved. So then you click Next, and it gives you, on the last screen, it gives you a little summary of everything that you set up here. And you click Finish. So now we have it set up. We have it set up so that when every day at 4 a.m., it will run that batch file. That batch file will open up Free File Sync, and it will run all of these pairings that I have set up here. It'll copy all of the files from my USB drive to my G drive, and then it'll also copy all the files from my USB drive to my network attached storage. So once you do that, now I have 3 backups. I have my 2 local backups, which is a USB drive and my network attached storage, and then I have an offsite backup, which is my Google Drive. And once you have this set up, it does it automatically. You don't have to do it manually. You don't have to go in and do all of this stuff. It's set up now. Yeah, it's not too complicated. If you're not that tech savvy, it may seem more complicated than it is. But if you follow along with me, like if you go to set yours up and you follow along with this video, it should be pretty simple. But once you get to this point, you're done. You got it set up. And what I do is like I was saying at the beginning of this video, what I'll do is when I get home from a shoot, I plug my SD card into my laptop. And the first thing I'll do is open up my hard drive. I mean, my USB drive. Let me see. I think I got the wrong folder selected here. Yeah. I'll open up my USB drive. And I will copy everything from the SD drive to my folder. First, I'll create a folder inside of my photo folder. I would name it, Allison's photo shoot 713, whatever. I just give it a name so I'll know which photos is in that folder, and I'll copy everything from the SD drive to that photos folder. All the raw files, all the JPG files. When I shoot, I usually shoot in JPG and raw, even though I rarely use a JPG, but I always like to still have the JPEGs. So I'll copy all of them over, And then when I do video, like a lot of times when I do photo shoots, I also record video. I'm using like a GoPro or my DJI Pocket camera or something like that to record video, behind the scenes footage. And I do the same thing with the video. I'll go to the video folder. I'll create a folder in there for that shoot. I would name it the same exact thing that I named the folder in the photo side of it. And then I will copy all of my files from the GoPro, from the DJI Pocket over to that folder, So that way I have the video and the photos for that shoot listed on my USB hard drive. They're both named the same, so I don't have to try to guess which one is which, because sometimes you might do shoots with the same person more than once. So as long as you put the name and the date and you name both the videos and the photos folder the same thing, then that let's see, I'm going to do I'm gonna make a YouTube video based off of the photo shoot I did with Sarah on August 12th. Well, I will go to my photos folder. There will be a folder that says Sarah, August 12th. If I go to my videos folder, there will also be a folder that says Sarah, August 12th. And I know that those 2 photos are related to each other. I know the videos in the video folder and the photos in the photo folder, they're both related to the same shoot, and I can go and start trying to make my YouTube video or make my Instagram reel or whatever I choose to do that, requires a combination of both video and photos. But once I copy it to this folder, then that's it. I just leave it alone. It's done. I'll start editing. I'll start doing whatever I need to do. And 4 a.m. the next morning, Free File Sync, the scheduler will go off. It'll run Free File Sync, and it'll copy all of my files over to my 2 additional backups. And there you have it. You got it all set up. And it's pretty good because even if I edit, when I'm editing folders, editing photos, I usually edit right off the USB drive. I'll import it from the USB drive into the catalog in Lightroom and edit it. And even when you do that and you save the files, you export it back to a folder on that drive. when you run the sync, that when it automatically runs the sync the next morning, it'll copy all of those files over. So it makes it pretty easy. Once you set this up, you don't have to worry about it. Now, I would say every once in a while, check to make sure it's there. You know, you don't have to do it every day. I wouldn't even necessarily say you have to do it every week. Every once in a while, just go to your different backups and look and make sure the most recent stuff is there, you know, to make sure it's still running. You know, open up free file sync every once in a while to see if there are any errors, you know. But if you got everything set up, you know, it's pretty much a set it and forget it situation. You'll have my requirements for the 3 backups, 2 local, 1 offsite. You have that covered. And it's pretty easy, you know. But I wanted to let you guys know about this because, you know, this is how I had it set up when my hard drive crashed. If I really was on top of things, you know, where I failed when I had the problem is that my hard drive crashed during a time when I was troubleshooting another part of this system. I was troubleshooting my NAS, which I was having issues with my NAS, and my network attached storage, and I was troubleshooting that. And while troubleshooting that, I turned off everything. I turned off Google Drive from updating. I turned off free file sync. I turned everything off because, I don't know, just from me, I can't even remember what in the world I was troubleshooting at the time. All I know is that I was having a problem with the NAS, and it wasn't even related to backup. It was related to something else. But I ended up turning off all of that stuff to try to stop everything from going to the NAS while I was doing the troubleshooting. I didn't fix that problem. Was saying I'm going to come back to it. Never did come back to it, and never did turn my stuff back on. So when that hard drive did crash, I had gone a good month or so without it running and backing up to anything. And I lost a lot of stuff. I ended up getting a lot of the photos back, but the video I lost, all of the videos I lost, which is, if you look at my channel, you can see at one point I was kind of putting out a lot of videos pretty quick, you know, and then all of a sudden it stopped for a couple of weeks. And that's why it stopped, because I lost everything. I had to do more photo shoots, record more video. I had to basically start over. So at some point I will send that drive off somewhere to see if I can get the stuff recovered. And when I do, because I have tons of video up there from different shoots, when I do, I'll probably, you know, still make those videos, but I just got to do that first. But that's all I had to say for today. I just wanted to give you guys this quick tutorial, which I know it isn't that quick. It's been almost an hour, and to set it up. And let's see, I go back and turn this off. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Like I said, there's going to be another Model Monday stream next Monday, the 28th. I'm still putting together who's going to be the host. I'm not sure if I'm going to have the same host as I did on the last Model Mondays. If you haven't watched the last Model Mondays photo shoot, go ahead and check it out. The replay is on the stream, on the channel now. I also broke down a couple of the segments. If you just want to watch a couple of the segments, I'm probably going to do it with all the segments at some point. I got a new video that I'm going to be working on. I'm not sure which model I'm going to do for my next BTS video. I have several of them ready for me to produce and put out here on the stream. I'm not sure which one I'm going to do first. But yeah, but thank you for watching, and make sure you subscribe to the channel, and make sure you click like and do some sharing and all kinds of stuff. Get the word out there. Let people know that I exist, you know. But yeah, but I'll see you guys next time.
I'ma make some and I'ma spend it. Yeah, new Jeep, no doors with it. No, I won't stop now. Who you kidding? Kidding. Every day I wake up, I'ma send it. I'ma send it. I'ma send it. Every day I wake up, I'ma send it. I'ma make some and I'ma spend it. I'ma make some and I'ma spend it. Yeah, new Jeep, no doors with it. No, I won't stop now. Who you kidding? Kidding. Every day I wake up, I'ma send it. I'ma make